Oh, the things they don't show you on social media. See, so Hawaii's not so perfect as social media would make you believe. I decided to delete social media from my life for 30 days, and I just so happened to be living in Hawaii. And I want to share about my experience, about why I did it, and some of the things I learned. I even got some notes here from the actual days as I was going through it. But I want to share my experience and, I don't know, maybe encourage people to give it a try. So why did I decide to do this? Well, I noticed that I was spending a lot of time on YouTube, and YouTube recommended a podcast by Dr. Cal Newport, and he talked about the effects of social media and our addiction to social media. And so I thought about it, and I decided that I wanted to go and give it a try. And I thought, okay, 30 days, that's probably gonna be enough for me. But I really want to see the effect it would have on not only myself, but also on my family, on the relationships that I had with other people, and just seeing how my brain would be rewired. I also noticed that I was buying a lot more things, buying camera stuff or bags and clothes, things I really didn't need. I had to ask myself, where did I get this consumerism mentality? And I think it was social media. I'm not really a big Facebook or Instagram user, but I do use a lot of YouTube, and it's pretty much replaced television for me at this point. And I do consider YouTube social media because there's content and creators and comments and feedback. I also decided to cut out all forms of video like Disney Plus, Amazon Prime Video, and Twitch, because it didn't make sense to me to just replace one video form with another. Whew. All right, it's getting a little wet out here. Let me go find some shade. Now I do make videos for YouTube, so I did allow myself to at least upload videos, but I didn't browse, I didn't do anything, I didn't view a video, I didn't open the app. Okay, so I just wanted to go over some of my wet notes here on what I went through during the past 30 days. So day one, I wanted to watch some things during the afternoon and evening, but I had to remind myself I was stopping social media. It was like a bad habit to reach for the phone. So instead I read a book. I realized that I defaulted to social media, especially when I was tired. And I don't know about you, but I know that I tended to default to social media. Whenever I had free time, whenever there was really nothing to do, it was always grab my phone and what is there to look at online. And it's really replaced a lot of the things that I used to love to do. One of the things that I really loved was reading, and I used to read a lot of books. I used to read maybe 2 or 3 books a week, if you can believe it, but really nowadays I just don't really have the time. And when I do have that free time, I'm not really grabbing a book. I'm usually grabbing my phone and I'm watching some kind of content. Day 7, really wanted to watch YouTube. I'm using my phone less and I really don't care where it is. I check my email occasionally, but I'm finding that I don't need it as much. I lost interest in my phone now that there's no social media. And I think at this point I realized how much I didn't really use my phone if it wasn't for social media. And there were times where I didn't even touch my phone for hours because of no social media, because I limited my access to it. There was really no point. Day 14, I'm starting to settle in. I didn't routinely check my phone anymore. I slept without that impulse to check my phone. I was less anxious about my life and I was less worried about buying things. So this is pretty huge. After 2 weeks, I was sleeping better. And I don't know about you, but I tended to check my phone right before bed. I know they say not to do that, but I tended to do it anyway. I tended to watch a video, I tended to just scroll and browse. By the way, this jacket is not doing anything. I'm getting soaked. I also noticed that I felt less anxious, and I think that was because I wasn't comparing myself to other people. Because I feel like social media allows us to compare ourselves to so many other people, more so when I was younger. When I was younger, yeah, I compared myself to other people, but they were really just limited to people in my class or in my school or even other family members. But with social media now, you're able to compare your life with not just them, but with a whole bunch of other people that really you shouldn't be exposed to because of social media, because they're not really in your circle, yet you have access to their lives because of social media. So day 20, my mind started to wander. I was really interested in buying another camera. The best place to look for reviews was on YouTube, but I couldn't, so it was tough. So I just busied myself with other things. Day 25, beginning to not miss it. It's not that I wouldn't enjoy it, but not having it as an option, I seem to be okay. I do wonder what YouTube videos I'm missing, but I realize that I can always go back and watch them. I'm subscribed to a lot of channels on YouTube, and I'll probably find ways to go back and see what I missed. But I'm really only gonna go check a handful of channels, and I'm realizing that I'm subscribed to a lot of channels that I don't necessarily care about. Yeah, I realized that I would be missing a lot of YouTube videos, but then I realized that if I had to pick what channels I would actually care about and go back and try to see what I missed, it wasn't that many channels, especially when compared to the channels that I'm subscribed to. And day 30 was hard. I wanted to watch anyway because there were so many things I wanted to catch up on, but I waited. It was like right at the finish line. I really wanted to watch the videos, but I resisted and I waited the whole day. And this is just the afterward, the aftermath. I went through all my channels that I subscribed to, and I added videos to the watch later playlist. It turned out to be about 40 videos. And I noticed that some of the channels that I was subscribed to didn't even post a video the entire time. And when I started watching YouTube videos, I noticed there were a lot of ads because I hadn't watched an ad in like 30 days. However, as a content creator, I know that ads are important, but still, it just seemed weird to watch a lot of ads. And so here are 3 takeaways to what I learned from having no social media in Hawaii. The first is that it's okay to be bored. I know we don't want to be bored. We always want to be entertained by something. We always want to be consuming something, but it's actually okay for your mind to be bored. Because boredom allows me to think about things, and it lets my mind kind of wrestle with thoughts or ideas. And I think it actually leads to a more healthy, self-thought life. It's why I enjoy walking, especially when I went to go visit Japan. And when I walk, I try not to walk with any headphones, without any distractions, and just let my mind be bored. Listen to the sound of whatever is going by, whether it's the ocean or a car. But just to let my mind not do anything, I think is very important. The second thing I learned is that I don't need my phone as much as I thought. When you take away social media off of your cell phone, it's really now just a communication tool in the older sense of the term. It's for text, email, and for phone calls. There's not really much else you can do. Now, of course, there are great apps like the Maps app or things like that that I tended to use because I needed to know where I was going. But without social media, I could just put my phone away and it just was sort of out of my sight. And number 3, the fear of missing out is absolutely real, but it's okay. The fear of missing out, right? You're gonna miss out on something on social media, so you stick on it. And I think that's a big reason why a lot of people stay on social media, even though they know that it may not be the best thing for them. Because you're thinking, what happens if I miss out on something? And you know what? That's an absolute possibility. You could miss out on certain events, pictures, invitations, ways that people can communicate with you. And I will say that social media does a great job of connecting you with a lot of people, particularly if you use it to communicate with family that's very far away. But I actually noticed that by not having social media in my life, it kind of forced me to really care about those relationships that are important to me, that I find critical to my everyday life. And I had to make an actual effort because I couldn't just message people whenever I had free time. Because during this social media break, we celebrated Valentine's Day. And there was no social media posts, there was nothing that announced what we were doing, there was no basically social media evidence, but we still did it anyway. And so I would ask, is it important? Did it matter? And I would say yes, it was important to us. We had a good time. But I didn't need social media to validate that experience. But nowadays, do we need that kind of validation? Do things not happen if there's no online proof? So for me, I'm glad that I took 30 days off of social media. Now, it may not be for everyone, and that's fine. I'm not saying that everyone needs to do it, but I think the benefits definitely prove themselves to at least me. Now, does that mean that I'm quitting social media for good? No. The next day, after my 30 days were up, I went on YouTube and I consumed social media, and I had a great time doing it. But I will say that now that it's over, I find that I don't need it because I proved to myself that I could make it without it. And I think that's an important thing for at least just myself, that I proved to myself that I don't need social media all the time. And I don't know if social media is going to show you stuff like this, how rainy it can get here in Hawaii, but I guess it's not always sunny in paradise, huh? So thanks for watching, and aloha.